ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So the universal form, that is the name of the chapter, chapter 11, text number 9. Would it really, is it possible we can have some sheet here, something to sit on, so that people can move forward? The mridanga can be placed here. Yeah. Life is already very happy, so we are trying to make it a little less miserable, isn't it? So, all right, let us continue till the time we have some arrangement here. Text 9. Sanjaya Vacha. Oh, you want to respond? All right. Evam uktva tato rajan Mahayogeshwaro Harihi Darshayamasa Parthaya Paramam Rupamaishwaram. Okay. So, evam uktva tato rajan Mahayogeshwaro Harihi Darshayamas Parthaya Paramam Rupamaishwaram. So everyone is comfortable? Really comfortable? Okay. So now please let me know one by one. You can take turns as you feel comfortable. Which words sound familiar in this verse? All right? If you want, we will do it again. So you can pay attention. And if there are certain words that seem familiar, then please let us know. And if you can also tell us what does that word mean, its meaning, or if there's more to it, you have something to share about it, then you can share. Is that okay? Yeah, everyone can come forward. This space is not the supernova or it's not the black hole. So everyone can survive if they come forward. And I don't bite. Especially on Ekadashi. Okay, so the words again. Evam uktva tato rajan mahaye yogeshwaro harihi darshayamas parthaya paramam rupam aishwara. So which words sound familiar? Hari? Somebody said Hari? You said Hari? Yes. Hari. What about it? Oh, Hari, Krishna. Okay. Right. Anyone else?
Aishwaram.
Aishwaram. Yes.
Prosperity.
Prosperity. Good. Yeah. Yes.
Rupam.
Rupam. Yes. What about Rupam? A form. Rupam form. Very nice.
One more mic. You can speak on mic.
Oh, there's a mic that can go around. Okay. All right. So Aishwaram, prosperity, Hari, Lord Krishna, Rupam, form. What else? Darshayam. Who said that? Darshayam. Yes. The meaning? Darshayam. Oh, if you're looking into the word for word meaning, then please
Display or showing.
display or show. Yeah, present. Yes. Darshayam. Mahayogeshwara. Mahayogeshwara. The meaning?
Greatest of the yogis.
Greatest of the yogis. Okay. Yes. So we still have a few words that are not taken. Rajan, king, O king, yes. Uktva, having spoken, yes. Nice. See? Together as a community, we are understanding the meaning of the words in Sanskrit, isn't it? Yes, that's good. What else? Evam uktva tato rajan. So uktva is gone. Rajan is gone. All right. Mahayogeshwara Hari. All words are taken. Darshayamas parthaya. Darshayam is taken. Paramam rupam aishwaram. Rupam aishwaram is gone. Paramam parthaya. So Parth. Arjun, yes. Parthaya means unto Arjun or O Arjun. Yes. Paramam, supreme, greatest. Very nice. So now we have three words remaining. Evam, tato, as. Asa. Anyone? Evam and does. Yes. Tataha, there, therefore. Yeah. Okay, as. Now, so just one word, right? So those of you who are looking at the word for word meaning, how does Prabhupada translate that word as? On the smartphones. What is as? As. That is Asha.
Darshayamasa. Isn't it a part of Darshayamasa? He shows.
Yes. But Sandhi, you can break it like that. Yeah. What is the translation?
It said it showed.
So Darshayam asas showed.
It's like showed. Darshan is
It seems it is whenever the word asa is used, it is that it was easily or without much endeavor. So it's important. Darshayam asa, this word asa is important because Krishna said, what do you want, Arjuna? Arjuna said, I want this. Krishna said, okay, here it is. That's sweet, sweet of Krishna, isn't it? Wish we could do that. God, Nitai, what do you want? And then we say, We want this, and Gauranta said, okay, tadastu. That would be really awesome. Immediate response. Yeah. So darshayam asa parthaya paramam rupam aishwaram. So we are discussing the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. How many of you have paid attention to the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita?
Not enough.
So why did you pay attention to it? What was about the 11th chapter that you
They,
found striking?
So,
If it doesn't work,
no, it's not bad.
we need a change of batteries. Where we have the battery spare. Yes.
Essentially, it's like a display of universal form, which, many of these things I couldn't even imagine before. So, kind of, the first time when I read the 11th chapter, gave me a, breadth of, the stories of Hari. So, like, he showed his universal form.
Okay. So he showed a universal form. So the word universal itself, like Universal Studios, so seems important, isn't it?
Right.
Like, consider how they give names: Universal Studios, Paramount. It's like, oh, Paramount. It must be something very important. Paramount Motion Pictures or something like that. So, universal forms, essentially, when you heard about it, so you wanted to go through it, and when you went through it, you understood the glories of Lord Hari. Nice. So, do we recommend this as PG-13 or
Definitely be that.
PG-13? It's definitely PG-13. Of all the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, if anyone could be rated non, which would it be? What do you think? I mean, what I want to say is, was it a little scary?
Oh, very scary, yes.
So this chapter, we could maybe say that you should do it under supervision. Parental supervision. However, it is not so. And we'll try to see how it could not be like that. Typically, 11th chapter, I don't think so. Most of us have heard much about it, except that, oh, there is a universal form chapter. It's a big chapter.
It's not given much importance in our Sampradaya.
I wouldn't say that. Srila Prabhupada gave us purports on it. So, but yes, maybe we'll see what is there in the 11th chapter. We'll try and decipher that. So I've been doing it for the past few days. This is what I've been doing. I've started off from the 6th verse in different places. We've discussed on it. Today we are on the 9th verse. We'll discuss. We're not going to finish discussing this verse, so it will be in a couple of episodes, sessions. Yes? So the universal forms, this is Sanjaya Uvacha. Now, in the Bhagavad Gita, Vyasadeva, he narrated the entire Mahabharata, right? And our scribe, Lord Ganesh, noted it down. We've heard that. Everyone has heard that. Yeah. There is a place called as Vyasa Gufa, a cave of Vyasadeva. And the walls of the cave, they are in a certain rock formation. It looks like slabs. Vyasa Gufa is in this place, which glorifies itself as being the last village before you hit the borders of the country of India. So when you come to that village, they actually try to encourage you. It's written in Hindi because a lot of tourists there, they can relate to it. Bharat ki aakhri chai, the last cup of tea that you can have within the borders of India, because beyond that, after about 20-30 kilometers, is the international border. Yeah. Okay. So, Vyasagufa, this is close to Badrinath, the present day Badrinath town. Vyasadeva sat down there. He wanted to compile the Vedic literatures. It is explained specifically about the Mahabharata that he encouraged Lord Ganesh to pen it down.
Further down from Badrinath.
Further up. It's about just maybe 2 miles up.
Oh,
Yeah. I think 3 kilometers, 3.5 kilometers. Max 4. So 2.5 miles. Yeah. There was a problem. The problem was they were sitting on the banks of the river Saraswati. Very poetic, isn't it? How is it poetic? Because Saraswati, who's Saraswati? The goddess of learning. And they're trying to compile the Vedic literature. So, seems that this is a good setting. Now, Saraswati is very excited because there was going to be a satsang program. She is extremely excited. Saraswati is a river, right? Very excited. Just as we get excited, satsang program. At least we are assured of nice prasad, even on Ekadashi. So Saraswati was also very much excited because there was going to be prasad. This prasad would be in the form of katha. Yes. So being very excited, she started flowing fast. And her waves were creating rumbling sounds. So Ganeshji had put some conditions that he would write as long as Vyasadeva would narrate without stopping. Wherever his narration would stop, Ganesh would stop writing. He's like, okay, that is done. Yeah. Most probably, Lord Ganesh had a better offer somewhere. It's time to just wrap up the project. Yeah. So this is the IT scenario 5,000 years ago.
what I heard was that as long as Ganeshji's, the pen doesn't stop, it shouldn't stop. So, basically what it is that he needs to be able to continuously comprehend and write. He'll immediately comprehend what Vyasadeva says, and then he'll continuously keep writing. So there should be a time where his comprehension is complete, and then he wrote down and then it stopped. So basically, what I heard from my elders is that in between Vyasadeva on purpose he put some difficult phrases. So Ganesh had to stop and then think, so that he can catch up.
Nice. We've heard that before. Now, in this narration, we kind of just overlooked how smart Vyasadeva is. He's a CEO of a company. Vyas Literatures Private Limited. Vyasadeva, yeah? Have you heard Vyasadeva? So when Ganeshji said that if you stop narrating, because I mean, Vyasadeva is doing it extempore. So you kind of do, Ganesh said that, Shri Ganeshji said that if you do that, my pen cannot write as and ums. So I'll stop. And then I'm going for, I'm leaving the company. I have a better offer. So then Vyasadeva, because in Hindi there's a saying, Ser to Sawa se. Ser is a kind of measurement. So Sawa se means, previously, if I don't think so, maybe you've not experienced it. When we were young, we used to go to the market to buy stuff. So we would say 500 grams of this or that, and they would put a little extra. The idea was that, they are very broad-hearted and, broad-minded, broad-hearted, generous. And we are like, oh, we got extra. The consumer, the buyer. Anyways, so that is called a savase. All right. Or I am from Mumbai. So in Mumbai slang, it could be Sabka Baap Vyas. The big boss is Vyasadeva. I mean, it's super intelligent, super brilliant. The literary incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Vyasadeva put that condition that you cannot just write whatever I'm speaking. You have to comprehend, understand, and then write. So Ganesh says, no problem. He's super smart. Ivy League graduate. Very smart. There's no problem. But then, you know what Vyasadeva was thinking? जिस स्कूल के तुम विद्यार्थी हो, वहां के हम प्रिंसिपल हैं. I know ways by which I can do certain stuff, as Prabhuji mentioned, that he would arrange phrases or words in such a way that Ganeshji had to look at the Vyakaran, at the grammar, whether it was appropriate or not. And that would take a little time. Ganeshji had not updated. He did not have time to update to the latest version of the processing system, the operating system, right? So the software kind of sometime would have hanged just for a microsecond. That was all that Vyasadeva needed. Like, okay, its system is a little hung up. Let me think what next. So that is how it was going on. All right. Now Saraswati ji. We were discussing about Saraswati ji. Suddenly, another window opened up, pop-up. Another pop-up came in. So Saraswati, she was excited. Like, sometimes when you're really excited, I wanted to really hear. Have you seen people when they're really excited to hear? Some of those days, bhule bisre din. Most of us have been there. The days of the past and the yore. You're like wanting to jump into the mouth of the speaker so that we can catch the phrases right there. Oh yeah, this is nectar. And you're practically on your hunches, basically. Hunches is not right. Hunches? Yeah, practically like ready to jump in. Very eager. So Saraswati was very eager. But when you're very eager, you also get very fidgety. And that becomes a distraction. So she, because of her eagerness, somehow her eagerness was comprehended as or seen as a distraction by two of them. So Vyasadeva, he asked Mother Saraswati, can you be a little silent, please? Flow silently. She said, yes, sir. We are here to please you. So the acceptance, the public acceptance is that she still flows very quietly. If you go to Vyasadeva, you can hear the Ganga flowing and you can hear her waves because she goes and meets the Ganga. Her waters are very quiet as they flow. That is your belief. If your belief is strong, that is how you'll see it. If it is not strong, you may hear her roaring. It's possible. But that is the story. So we come back to Vyasadeva. After 10 chapters, practically after 10 chapters, if I'm not wrong, this is the first time Vyasadeva has interjected and said, Sanjay Uvacha. Why? And when we ask why, that is how the chapters of the Bhagavad Gita and the verses of the Gita become interesting. Sometimes, in my own personal experience, I've seen people get a little agitated when they're with me. I'll tell you why. You should have asked why. None of you asked. See?
I find it hard to believe.
I'll tell you why. Because I'm wanting to know things. Like here, I immediately asked, will the neighbors be okay? Yeah. So many a times I ask about if I'm driving down some road. We are going from place A to place B, then there are so many exits, there are so many routes joining in, right? So I'll ask them, where does this go to? And they're so eager. They're like, Prabhu, do you want to go there? I'm like, no. And what is the information for? I never know. Who knows? But right now there's something that sounds interesting. This could be a road that leads to Krishna. I don't know. And many times interesting things come up. One place, I asked them, where does this road go to? And they're like, the street. And they said, we don't know, but we could look up on Google and say, it's an interesting name. It was My Lord Street. I said, oh, nice. But people thought that I'm so very Krishna conscious. No, I'm just inquisitive. Maybe I am Krishna conscious. Who knows? I hope so. Yeah. That is how, even in the Gita, when we hear about the Supreme Lord, if we always stay inquisitive. Yeah. Sanjay Uvachu, what is it? Has somebody ever, in all these years that generation after generation people have discussed on the Bhagavad Gita, has somebody pointed out to this fact? And yes, somebody has pointed out to this fact. And therefore it is interesting, right? But we'll not discuss it today.
No.
I'm just joking. I've come prepared to discuss that. That is how I get importance, I have to Facebook, I have to post something there. New status. Something interesting. So here, interesting. Sanjay Uvacha. And we'll see what are the interesting things. So please, again, go back to your smartphones for those of you who are already there. We'll go back to a few verses and we see certain similarities between what is being discussed here and what was there. Okay. Let us go to the verse before this. Verse number 8. Those of you who have verse number 8 on your smartphone, can you tell me what is the last line of this verse?
Pashya me Yogeshwar.
Again.
Pashya me Yogam Aishwar.
Pashya me Yogam Aishwaram. Did we have a few words similar to this in verse number 9? Now this verse number 8 has been spoken by Krishna. He's telling Arjuna, look at my mystical opulence. Pashyame, you see. Yogam,
Aishwar.
yogas, opulence. Prosperity, opulence. Aishwaram, mystical. Or you could also translate yoga as mystical and Aishwaram as opulence, either ways. All right. So look at my mystical opulence. We, as the readers of the Bhagavad Gita, reminded that this is a conversation that is happening between Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. Isn't it? Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra what is happening on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and he is narrating all that is being spoken by Arjuna and how Krishna is responding. Is it correct? Okay. So Krishna says, Pashyame yogam Aishwara. Arjuna, look at my mystical yoga or mystical opulence, mystic opulence. What does Sanjay say? How does he take that, what Krishna is going to show, how does he take that and present it to Dhritarashtra? Mahayogeshwara. Krishna says, Pashyame yogam Aishwaram. He says, look at my mystical opulence. So he says, Mahayogeshwara. He wants Dhritarashtra to really pay attention. In other words, if we think that we are also a little confused, as is Dhritarashtra. Everyone knows Dhritarashtra, right? Anyone who does not know who's Dhritarashtra? Who's Dhritarashtra?
He was a king leading the dynasty.
The king leading a dynasty. Very correct. Dhritarashtra, all of you are residents of Silicon Valley, like the Bay Area, except Tennessee people. Yeah. Bay Area, right? From the Bay Area perspective, what is the perspective of the Bay Area predominantly? Chips and coding.
Mostly money,
Am I right or am I wrong?
money.
I mean, after this gets over, what are you going to discuss? What are you going to get involved in? Are you going to discuss apple and oranges? I don't think so. You're even going to discuss about the politics that is happening there. No, right? IT. So from the Bay Area perspective, Dhritarashtra, who's Dhritarashtra?
Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs or
Yes,
Larry Ellison.
very good example. Dhritarashtra is like Steve Jobs when Apple said, all right,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye. The board of directors, they said, you should take a vacation. That happened?
Yeah.
How many of you know about it? If you don't know, then forget it. I'm not going to narrate that. But there was a moment in history when he did leave the company and was just looking after a small department, portion of it, the creative. Then he comes back big time and takes over again. And then again, Tata bye-bye.
This type of good.
How do I know all of this? I've also been a student like all of you before coming to Krishna consciousness. And as I said, I like to inquire about things that I see. It's helpful too. When I talk to people in the Bay Area, they're like, oh, Steve Jobs, yeah. Dhritarashtra is someone who's trying to set up his company. He has inherited from his forefathers, or there is an inheritance. However, he has to establish himself. Because of certain circumstances, he's not able to establish himself. So he's looking for a couple of people who could act as his board of directors. And that couple of those few people whom he's considering are Duryodhan and brothers, his sons. Now, seems relevant. However, his challenge is that there is a will. According to the will, the company's assets are to be taken over by the Pandavas. Now, the funny part is, or the interesting part is, the will is within the control of Dhritarashtra. He holds the will. So he is the guardian of the will. So this is the scene between the Pandavas, the Kauravas, Dhritarashtra. And what are the assets? The assets are the Hastinapur and its subsidiaries. Those are the assets. All right. Sanjay has been a trusted employee of Dhritarashtra. Very trusted employee. At the same time, because Sanjay is an individual person, he realizes what are the pitfalls that are there in Dhritarashtra's vision. Dhritarashtra has a vision about his company, but Sanjay knows what the pitfalls are. So Sanjay is in a dilemma. He cannot leave the company because he has signed a disclosure before joining the company. He signed a disclosure. I will not join any other company my entire life. So sign a disclosure like that. Now what can he do? So you understand Sanjay's situation? So whenever it is possible, it tries to bring to Dhritarashtra's attention some opportunities, some favorable opportunities that are there for him to give up his unhealthy vision, his unhealthy ambitions. But Dhritarashtra is convinced that his way is the only way. So there are two things that are happening here. One is when Krishna says Pashyame Yogam Aishwaram and Sanjay says Mahayogeshwara, he's very excited. Do you know why? Let's suppose today Prabhupada would just kind of descend from somewhere right here in our midst and he says, let me show you what is the kingdom of the Supreme Lord, Goloka Vrindavan. Would you be excited? Like he'll give us a visual presentation of it. He'll give us some instruments and we can see. What would happen? What would you do? What would be your reaction? Or let us say, Prabhupada says, here I'm going to reveal Krishna under this tree. What would you do? Now, if Krishna himself were to come, and Krishna would say, I'm here, and we are like, where are you, my Lord? No, you cannot see me like that, not with these eyes. So what should I do? I will reveal myself to you. Would that be exciting? All of you are married people, right? You have children. Would you want to see this alone, or are you going to shout out to someone? Would you just, what would your reaction be?
Very excited.
All the husbands, what would you do?
All the family members too.
Hari bol. Now we are, as I said, I'm from Mumbai, Maharashtra. आमच्याकडे अहो ऐकता काय? बाहेर या. बाहेर ये ग, बाहेर ये. My dear, come here, come out. Leave everything, just come here. Can you imagine what is happening to Sanjay? That is why Mahayogeshwara. We have to be as excited as Sanjay. If we are not, we'll read this chapter and we're like, oh my God, I'm so happy this was not going to be asked in Bhakti Shastri exams. That is the first thought that can come. And most of us would think, well, it's nice. Not many verses from this chapter are the selected verses, selected important verses. But if you are excited as Sanjay is, then we are going to have a vision of Krishna's universal form. It will be presented in the form of words. And we will be participating in it. All right. And he says, Krishna says, Pashyame Yogam Aishwaram. He says, Paramam Rupam Aishwaram. Most of you, how many of you are going for this weekend? You'll be going to a special place. How many of you may do that? Some of you up north? Any important event coming up in the next month or something like that? Like looking forward to it. Anything happening here? Anyone? The days before the pandemic, I think around this time, just before this, our Maharaj here would be taking out yatras, right? India. Around February time, February. After Magh. Yeah? How many of you have been to when Vaisheshika Maharaj takes yatra? You've been there. You've been? Is it exciting? Very nice, right? Would you want to, if you get a chance and you can make arrangements, you would want to participate again? So in 3 words or 4 words, can you describe what is that experience, your feeling? When you get to hear that, you will be going on a yatra like that. Divine. Out of the world. Just look at the superlatives that she's using. And it's true. When you're really excited about something, then you use superlatives. Correct? Divine, out of the world. What is Sanjay doing here? Paramam. You know what does Paramam mean? The utmost. Paramam Rupam. The most divine form. Aishwaram. Full of all opulences. All right. So this is his excitement. Whose excitement? Sanjaya's excitement. So, evam uktva tato rajan. Sanjay is saying, having spoken thus, O king. So he's addressing Dhritarashtra. Now, from the Bhagavad Gita's perspective, now Bhagavad Gita is pure philosophy, right? The first chapter is about the philosophical challenges that one has in life, and the rest of the chapters is about the answers to those philosophical challenges in life, correct? Am I right? Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Is it right? Is it correct?
Yeah.
No, a lot of us may not feel we have philosophical challenges, therefore we don't see. It is only when you hit traffic, peak time traffic, that is when you realize how terrible it is. But if you are in your house and you see traffic and your friend calls up, then you are very philosophical about it. Yeah, don't worry, life is like that. But if you are caught up in traffic, you're like, I tell you, this is so miserable. You call n number of friends just to vent out your frustration. Okay? So Bhagavad Gita is a philosophical treatise. How does this fit in the middle of the Gita? Sanjay is telling Dhritarashtra, oh Rajan, great mystic, Hari, Krishna. The word Hari is also, there's some play on this word Hari also here. We'll see if we can explain that. Darshaya is going to show. And Can you imagine? He's showing it. He's showing that form. It's like, some relic, something that is unimaginable because it has been lost in time is being revealed. Darshayamas unto Partha. Sanjay is excited because although it will be revealed to Partha, he'll also piggyback. He'll also have the vision. And is kind enough to let Dhritarashtra also have that vision, because the way Dhritarashtra understands things is when he hears others speak about their vision. Does that make sense? How does Dhritarashtra understand things? From people around him who explain things to him in words. You understand? So whenever we feel, sometimes when we read Bhagavad Gita or when we try to meddle with philosophy, indulge in philosophy. You know what is indulging in philosophy? You understand what I'm trying to say? If there is a fruitive reason, this is very important because this is the goal of my life and I want to dedicate myself to this life. There's a fruitive intent. Spontaneous feelings are a little different. Spontaneous feelings are whatever happens, whether this is important or not, I like it. You understand what is spontaneity? You're not feeling very good. Your stomach's upset. Your throat is not doing well. But you get ice cream. And if you fanatically love ice cream, not just love, I mean you love eating ice cream. Do you think you're going to be concerned about what are the benefits and how it is going to be harmful? You're like, I'm going to enjoy right now, and later on I'll take something to mitigate whatever problems are there. That is spontaneity, isn't it? This is called as attraction of rasa. This is called as taste. All right. So fruitive intent, what is fruitive intent? First, let me drink hot water so that I am ready now to eat ice cream. So my body will not be so much affected by the side effects of ice cream. And if needed, before that, I will try to, if it is possible, I will try to put an armor around all of my organs that will be negatively affected by the ice cream. If it is possible. It's not, but there's a technique you can do that. You can eat some ghee before that also. It's not easy to eat that because after that, you don't have any taste for anything else. But it mitigates the effect of the ice cream. There are so many ways that people, their descriptions are, forget it. Again, I'm transgressing. Getting diverted, yeah. So, when you do that, now you're being fruitive. You're trying to find out ways by which you can enjoy the ice cream. At the same time, you can also prove that you are a proponent of healthy living. You subscribe to healthy living. In India, we have a lot of people who do that. In Hindi, they say, कोई नहीं जी, थोड़ा सा पहले ना आप ये खाएंगे तो बाद में आपको जो खाना खा सकते हैं. थोड़ा खाली इतना ये चूरन खा लो आप. बाकी सब ठीक हो जाएगा. So whenever there is a fruitive intent, indulgence in philosophy, that is what we are discussing, right? Fruitive intent. Or one has nothing better to do. Like you're on a plane or you're in the train. Network is down. You cannot operate your phone. Discharged. The phone is discharged. That is when you start noticing people around you. You're like, oh, hello. Okay. And because for so many years now, we have done nothing more than talk philosophy. After 2 sentences, you're like, so what do you think about life? And the ups and downs of it. And then you have a 2-hour discussion on that. And after discussion, you feel like, wow, that was a nice discussion. However, the reason we got into that discussion was because there was nothing better to do. So many a times, when we are being philosophical, these could be the prominent reasons why we become philosophical. And it is helpful. However, in the long run, it is not healthy. In the long run, we need to have taste. We need to find spontaneity. All right? That is who we are. When we do things spontaneously, which we like and which is healthy for us, then we feel really, really happy and satisfied. Yes? Okay. So here Sanjay. Vyasadeva is introducing Sanjay. He has a very specific reason, very, very specific reason. He wants to see whether we are paying attention or not. Have we just accepted some narrative by the time we have come to the 10th chapter? Have we subscribed to some narrative and stopped using our intelligence? Have we just become robotic, mechanical, and not wanting to inquire anymore? Are we able to be in sync with what Sanjay is feeling? And do we understand this is such a wonderful opportunity when Krishna is revealing his universal form? If we are ticking all of these boxes, then there is the possibility that we will also be as excited. Games. How many of y'all have indulged in games, video games? If you have not, raise up your hands. But if you have sometimes, then you can keep your hands down. Okay, so we can safely say you have. Is it boring playing the same game again? If you find it interesting the first time and you can improve on your score? Is it boring?
No.
That is a Gita. This is the video game, the philosophical video game of our life. If we find a way to improve our scores, somehow we find a technique, a way, some latent enthusiasm within us. If we arouse the potentials that is hidden somewhere within us, within our consciousness, to feel excited every time. Can I have a better score this time? Better score of feeling excited, finding something very exciting in the Bhagavad Gita. Then things change. The way we observe things, the way we feel, emotions change. Otherwise, year after year, it's the same question. I travel and I give presentations. Well, I've been doing that for quite some years. If I could note down some of the most common questions. Prabhuji, how do I control my mind while chanting? Whether it is after 5 years of chanting, 10 years of chanting, 20 years of chanting, typically, I'm saying maybe 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10, maybe 9 out of 10 people there. And somewhere I think there is also the understanding that for 20 years, if you ask a question like that, it shows that you're very humble and sincere. Like, yeah, I have so many impurities. I've realized that now. With all these impurities, how do I improve in my chanting? There's another way. There's another way to feel humble, where we can, by keeping our eyes and ears and our consciousness open, we can find alternate exciting opportunities. One of them is here. Evam uktva tato rajan. Having spoken like this, he is telling Krishna, he is telling Dhritarashtra, after Krishna spoke like this, he showed. Now, if we were eager, we would again go back to the previous verse and see what did Krishna say, if we have not noticed it. When we're reading that, if you have not noticed it, sometimes we read things and we just let it go. You're married couples, right? Lot of experience. One of you, both of you must have experienced. When I speak both, I mean husband and wife. That one of you is speaking something and the other is in certain mode of response. Are you listening? Yes. So then what should we do? Whatever you decide, basically. It goes both ways. Experience, is it true? Yeah. So, evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshwara haridarya masabar paramam rupam evam uktva. Prabhu, what are you doing? Mataji, what are you doing? Exam, they'll ask this question. And then once the exam is done, yeah, I still remember the verse. When we were memorizing the verses, I remember this partly. It's like one of those things, twinkle, twinkle, little star. I mean, even now trying to, sometimes I try to wonder what was the meaning behind it. Maybe they were wanting us to use our ability of speech. Otherwise, twinkle, twinkle, little tongue twisters, right? Star. You have to roll your tongue. But then, tinkle, tinkle, little star, and everyone is wonderful, wonderful. Wow. Can you, again, the child is right there, the great Indian cinema, Indian family cinema. Beta, Prabhuji is here, Maharaj is here, Mataji is here. Can you chant that verse? The child is, yes. Evam utta tato rajan mahajagaja. And parents are so excited. It's good. But then the verse also helps you develop your ability to speak. That is how Sanskrit verses are. Sanskrit basically helps you develop your ability to speak the mantras. Your charan becomes clear. So, if we had understood the essence of this verse, then we would have been eager to go back to the previous verse and see the connections. And maybe we did it, maybe we still do it. And henceforward, if we are doing it, we need to do it. We need to continue doing it for the rest of our life. Because that is what keeps life vibrant for those who want to achieve or who want to reach a particular destination in their philosophical seeking. And if we were doing it, somehow we stopped, we have to start again. Make life exciting again. Because now the foundation is there and we built a lot on that foundation. Now we need to expand. We need to keep up the enthusiasm. We need to make it very, very exciting for ourselves. So, evam uktva tato rajan mahayogeshlo hari. So the word hari, again, there's a play of words. What is hari? Mano? Takes away. So Arjuna is expressing his desire to see Krishna's universal form because he's very excited. That is why he says, what did Krishna tell Arjuna? He said, yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam, all of that. Within a spark of my splendor. Now Arjuna is like, hey, this is something new. spark of his splendor. If somebody tells you there's this app, it has all the lectures, all the kirtans, you're like, really? One app has it? Can I have that app? Can I download it? Where can I find it? So as soon as Krishna said, a spark of my splendor, Arjuna is like, can I download it? Krishna is like, yeah, let me show it to you. So that is how this is happening. So Hari is somebody who takes away. So what is Krishna taking away here? Many a times we feel that we know things. The more you know things, the more you should be stimulated to find newer and newer realizations. That is what knowledge is. Knowledge, the quality of knowledge is that it always makes you seek more. It makes you understand things, but then you want to know more. That is how knowledge is. And if we are understanding things and we are not stimulated to know more, then that is avidya. It is not vidya. It is ignorance presenting itself in the form of knowledge. What is ignorance? Ignorance is that which keeps you away from something revealing. That is ignorance. It keeps you away from that. So we have the potential to always see newer, or always find newer and newer realizations, new and new. Nava nava rasa dhamma muddita rantum asit. It's a prayer by a great Acharya, Yamuna Acharya. He says, every moment in my spiritual search, I found newer and newer taste, new and new excitement. Nava nava rasa. New taste. So, that lethargy, if Krishna hadn't mentioned to Arjuna that, Arjuna, the spark of my splendor, everything is there, Arjuna would never have asked Krishna. Do we realize that? If Krishna had explained all the 7th chapter and the 9th chapter, and the taste of this and the strength of that, amongst these and that, amongst that and this, all of that. And he said, all right, Arjuna, today's class is over. Arjuna said, oh, thank you, because there's so much information. What does Krishna do? Yad yat vibhuti mat sattvam shrimat urjitam eva. He says, all that I have vibhutis, all these opulences that I've described is simply a fragment. It's simply a drop of the ocean of my opulences. Now a person like Arjuna is really interested. He's like, let me know more. So then the 11th chapter unfolds. Okay, so this is Sanjaya now showing the same kind of excitement, and we have to somehow or the other relate ourselves with Sanjaya. We have to put ourselves in the place of Sanjaya. Let us suppose that the written word Bhagavad Gita in the form of a book or in the form of, let us say, somebody's narration is being heard by us. And when we hear this, we should be like Sanjay. Pashyame Yogamaishwaram, Krishna says, and we should be eager. All right. Already in the 7th and 9th chapter, there been so much discussion about vibhutis, and now Yogamaishwaram. Very interesting discussion is going to happen. Okay? Is it 8:30? Almost? 8:25. Okay, let me see. Okay. What is it? What is happening here? Something very interesting. When Sanjay is saying Mahayogeshwar, if you go back 3 or 4 verses, Arjuna is addressing Krishna as Yogeshwar, but just as Yogeshwar. Sanjay could have used the same word. Is Sanjay trying to be over smart? Like if Arjuna can do this, I can do one better. Does that happen in our lives? If the person in front of us is, presenting something, then we are like, this, and something new from my side. Happens, it happens. So is that what is happening here with Sanjay? No, it does not. When he says Mahayogeshwar, what he's trying to say is that Arjuna simply wants to know or see what is that spark. However, Krishna's nature is a little different. When you approach Krishna, and Krishna reciprocates. In Prabhupada's words, when you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes a step towards you too. But there's a difference. And Srila Prabhupada says, when you take one step towards Krishna, Krishna takes 10 steps towards you. You heard that before? You heard that before? Yeah? So actually what it means is that Krishna is just taking one step, but it is his step. This step is equivalent to our 10 steps. Yes, so Krishna is he's covering the distance of our 10 steps. Now Krishna could have now we may say, oh, does that mean that Krishna reciprocates equally? I mean, I take a step, he also takes one step. But Prabhupada said 10 steps. So if Krishna were to take 10 of his steps, that would be so nice for me. Life would be easy for me. Isn't it? Fruitive intent, you see. Now, we could look at this in a different perspective also. If we want to use a fruitive intent, we could use it in a different perspective too. We could have said that Krishna could have taken one step of his, but equivalent to what we have covered. Isn't that possible? When a child takes one step towards you and you want the child to learn walking, to walk towards you, what do? You say, I'm also taking a step, but you take a tiny little step as an adult, right? Krishna could have done that. But look at Krishna's reciprocation. He does much more and beyond what we can ever expect from him. And that is why Sanjay is very excited. He says, Mahayogeshwar. Okay? And briefly, I will narrate a certain aspect of a description in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is from the 9th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? This is a story of a great king called as Ambarish Maharaj, and he had certain interactions with a very, very powerful mystical personality, very, very well-renowned personality of the name Durvasa Muni. Okay. So Ambarish Maharaj has done a particular fast, and a fast is only complete when you do the paran. Paran basically means that you have to complete your fast or you have to give up your fast, basically. In today's terminology, we say breaking the fast. Please don't break things. If you want, you can give up things, but don't break. It's not good to break. So for us, we never say, in our Marathi, we never say upvas todto. We say upvas sodto hai. Kima upvas sampte hai. It is getting over. The fast is coming to an end. So that is the Indian tradition, but in the English language, maybe it's kind of percolated in a different way. Anyways, you can try to do this. Next time when you say paran, you say, you have to end your fast. You can say either we are doing paran or parana. It is the same, it has the same meaning, paran or parana. Or you can say, I'm ending my fast. The fast ending time is from this to this. It brings in a different kind of attitude, cultural aspect. Anyways, so he had to do paran, end his fast, and to end his fast, he was fasting, so he was not eating or drinking anything for a few days. He had to eat. He had to eat prasad. Durvasa Muni happens to come at that time. So there is a window, few hours. So when Durvasa Muni comes, because he's such a renowned sage, and the protocol is that before you eat or drink, if you have a guest, you must first offer that to the guest. Even if that guest happens to be an animal, you have to do that. It's not just a human. The protocol is like that. These are the days of the past when people did not have high-tech companies. They simply had farmlands. So they could afford to do it, right? It's all right. It's okay. We don't have to beat ourselves over it. So in those days, fast, there was a window for Parna. Durvasa Muni comes, so he welcomes him, washes his feet, makes him comfortable, and says, please take some prasad. Durvasa Muni says, this is the appropriate time to take prasad. However, before eating, you should go and take a bath. Now, if that were the rule that we follow, then how many times are we going to eat in a day? What do you think? If before every meal we have to take a bath, then what are your suggestions? How many meals would we have in a day?
At most one.
No, be a little more compassionate on yourselves. What if we have 4 meals a day and every time take a bath? How would it be? Wonderful. Taking the bath or having the meal? Both. Yeah, it would be nice, time consuming. So somehow some people of the past, the yesteryears, they felt that 2 meals a day is enough because then you take 2 baths. Right? And then that is how lunch and dinner came into being. Now, when you take Alpopahar, you need not take a bath. Alpopahar is what we call as breakfast. Breakfast is Alpopahar. Something to just keep your juices running. But meal, a real meal. Okay? So, taking a bath. So, he goes to take his bath. By certain arrangements, things happen in this world, So by certain arrangements, he is a little delayed in coming back and the window is closing. The fast was done for the benefit of the entire kingdom because he's a king. He wanted to offer the benefit of that fast to the entire kingdom. That would be for the welfare of his subjects. It was an important fast, especially the results of it. So the king was concerned, what should he do? Or not the king, the ministers were concerned that the king should work for the benefit of the subjects. So they approached the king and he said, well, if I break my fast, if I end my fast before Durvasa Muni comes, then anyways, the results would be nullified according to the norms at that point of time. So I'd rather wait. However, if I don't end my fast on time, the results will not be there. These are again the rules of the past, all right? Of those times, according to the fast that he did. One of his intelligent ministers came up with a suggestion. He said, Charnamrit, if we honor Charnamrit, or if we drink Charnamrit, a few drops, 1 drop of Charnamrit, it is accepted as ending your fast, and at the same time, it is not considered to be does not fall into the category of eating or drinking. Charnamrit, when you honor Charnamrit, then that is how it is, according to the laws, the norms that have been written down. So he takes a drop of Charnamrit, takes his fast, Durvasa Muni comes right then after he has consumed it. You've broken the protocol. And the king breaking a protocol sets the wrong precedent, especially a king that is so much famous and so well respected. So Durvasa Muni felt that there has to be, this calls for very strict reaction. So he creates a personality that would right there and then give the death penalty to Ambarish Maharaj. A fiery personality would come and consume Ambarish Maharaj. Before the person could consume Ambarish Maharaj, Sudarshan Chakra comes there. the Lord's Sudarshan Chakra, and finishes off this personality. And then the Sudarshan Chakra wants to punish Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni starts running away from the Sudarshan Chakra. Finally, Durvasa Muni comes to Lord Vishnu. All right. So this is the narration. Okay. Just a couple of minutes more, maybe 5-10 minutes more. Ajanata te paramanubhavam kritam ayagham bharata priyanam vidhehi tasya pachitim vidhatur muchetayannam yudite narakopi. Translation. Akashvani somewhere. Oh my Lord. Oh, this is Durvasa Muni offering prayers to Lord Vishnu. Okay. Oh my Lord, oh Supreme Controller, without knowledge of your unlimited prowess, I have offended your most dear devotee. Very kindly save me from the reaction of this offense. You can do everything for even if a person is fit for going to hell. You can deliver him simply by awakening within his heart the holy name of your Lordship. Beautiful words. How many of you all have heard the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj and Durvasa Muni before? Please raise up your hands. You've heard? Do you remember this verse? Well, this is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm not speaking it on my own, all right? This is from the Srimad Bhagavatam. These are the words of Durvasa Muni. He's glorifying the holy names. He's glorifying the Supreme Lord. He's glorifying the devotee of the Lord. Now, when you glorify so much, you're supposed to be a very respectable personality, isn't it? When you say all of these words, in a devotee community, in a community of people who worship the Supreme Lord Krishna, Durvasa Muni's words will be very much honored, right? Okay, so after saying that, he keeps quiet, waiting for Lord Vishnu to respond. You want to see how Lord Vishnu responds? I'll just read the translations. First response is, I am completely under the control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the cores of their hearts. What to speak of my devotee? Even those who are devotees of my devotee are very dear to me. O best of the Brahmanas, without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination, I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss and my supreme opulences. And now, ye daragara putrapta pranan vittam imam param hitva mam sharanam yata katham tam staktum utsahe. Sincere pure devotees give up their homes, wives, children, relatives, riches, and even their lives simply to serve me without any desire for material improvement in this life or in the next. How can I give up such devotees at any time? What have the devotees done? What have the devotees done? Surrender? Let us see what they have done. They have given up their homes. Okay? They have given up their wives or husbands. They have given up their children or dependents. Given up means they have taken care of their responsibilities and now they have completely surrendered to the Lord. They have not run away. They have given up that attachment. All right? They have given up the attachment to their relatives. They have given up their riches and they have given up their lives simply to serve me. What do you think all of this is worth to Krishna? If Krishna were a trader, what is the worth of this to Krishna, do you think?
Nothing.
Think about this. Although it feels that they have given up a lot, which actually is a lot, but their possessions are in one way insignificant compared to what Krishna has. If they've given up the riches, Krishna can give them 100 times or 1,000 times of the riches that they have, and he can give it just like that. If they've given their lives to Krishna, Krishna can give them unlimited lifetimes. Isn't it? Would that be a fair trade? It would. how does Krishna feel about it is very interesting. And that is what Sanjay is trying to indicate when he says Mahayogeshwara. When you give to Krishna, Krishna does not reciprocate in the same terms, or he does not just magnify his reciprocation 100 or thousands of times. What does Krishna say? He says, how can I give up such devotees at any time? Which basically means that Krishna does not feel that all of his riches, his opulences, including himself, are sufficient enough to be compared, or they are comparable enough to what the devotees have offered. So the devotees are offering what they feel is everything that they have, everything. And from a very relative perspective, it is insignificant. Krishna, when he wants to offer everything, he feels that he is not qualified. He does not have sufficient enough to reciprocate with the devotees who have given him everything. He feels that even if I offer everything to them, including myself, that would not be sufficient. Hence he says, how can I give up such devotees at any time? So for Krishna, it's not a one-time deal. So when we are reading the Bhagavad Gita, this 9th verse, and we see that he says, Evam Ukto, having thus spoken, Mahayogeshwara Hari, supremely powerful personality of Godhead Hari, is revealing his universal form. He is revealing much more than what was expected of him to reveal. Arjuna would have been satisfied with a 100th portion of that. Krishna's emotions are overflowing. That is what makes the Bhagavad Gita also very relishable, when we see that it has these emotions on the part of Krishna, on the part of Arjuna, on the part of Sanjaya. And who's presenting all of this to us? Vyasadeva. And in the English language, Srila Prabhupada. Yes? So we'll stop here, continue. In my next class, I think that would be on Saturday. Is it okay? Because that would be, again, online, right? On our Facebook page.
Also, right?
Yeah, but that wouldn't be online, no? That was a private room. So can we stop here? Yes? Was it boring? At a certain point it was. Isn't it? So which part was boring? And typically I would say, so any questions, but why not have fun? Let's do something different. Which part was boring? See, that is a trick. It's my trick. This is my way of feeling smug with myself. And see, everyone was happy. No one felt bored. Although their faces are reflecting something else, but no one felt bored. Yes, questions.
Can you take one question?
Yes, please. I could take questions even online if there are some, or comments. Comments, feedback, questions, corrections, if there are any corrections.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the nice class. It was very interesting. Very quick question, Prabhu. So definitely, Prabhu, the overexcitement that we have is for the material things, things that we feel like, as you were saying earlier, we are overexcited for what is what will satisfy us, but we have no excitement for what will please the Lord. So like even though we are part and parcel of the whole Lord, like no, like Supreme Lord, we are part and His part and parcel, as Prabhupada says. What is that the part feels like we will be happy satisfying ourselves, not the whole? Like what is that thing that that kind of covers that up, Prabhu? If you can enlighten that one. Thank you.
Okay. Being part and parcel of Krishna, we find in the conditioned state, we find material things to be very attractive. So what is attractive there? It seems like contradictory. Because being part and parcel of Krishna, it's like saying that a ray of the sun likes darkness. So what is there in darkness that the ray likes? A ray of light. Go figure. I mean, how do we? It is contradictory, isn't it? First thing is Krishna explains that his material energy is divine. Where does he say that? In the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah? You remember? Who remembers? Where in the Bhagavad Gita Krishna says this material energy of his is divine? 7:14. You remember the verse? Good girl. Yes. Devi Esha. So, Devi. This divine energy of mine, is that how the translation is? Yes. Wonderful. Those who are 25 plus, 30 plus here, they're thinking, Hamare bhi wo din the. We also had a days where we would remember verses like that. Enjoy your youth. Mama Maya Duratteya. So first, divine energy, right? Who's a divine personality other than his energy? Who? What is? Where is the divinity coming from? The Lord. Is the Lord attractive?
Yeah.
So would his divine energy be attractive?
Sure.
It would be attractive. So that is where the attraction is coming from. Yes. However, then how is it material? That story we all know. Isn't it?
Sure.
Yeah. So this divine energy of Krishna is very attractive. Like so many leaves, each with its own particular quality, texture, fragrance. Amazing. Just on this one tree. Most probably, if Arjuna had been a Californian and Krishna would have spoken Gita in the Bay Area, he would have said, amongst the fruits, I am the orange or the lemon. Because that is what grows here, right? The best of fruits in this part of the country. This, the orange is so attractive. So that makes it attractive. Unfortunately, materialism is where we think it is for us only. We don't realize that it is for Krishna and also us. That part, it is for Krishna and also us. Krishna and we kind of delete. And we think it is for us only. So it is attractive. However, when we deal with material energy thinking that it is only for ourselves, that is where we have issues, we have problems, we fall into duality. Is that all right? You're welcome. Anything else? Anyone? Okay. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.